A motorcycle rider is seriously injured on Sunset Boulevard. The name of the man who died while swimming at Sand Hollow is released, and a man is accused of stealing thousands of dollars from his employer.
You're watching St. George News at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Amy Bennett. On Saturday afternoon, officers and emergency personnel were dispatched to a reported accident on West Sunset Boulevard near the Sunset Plaza after a motorcycle rider was seriously injured. For more on this story, here's Cody Blowers.
A motorcycle rider suffered extensive injuries in a crash on West Sunset Boulevard just across from the Sunset Plaza, and he was transported to the hospital in serious condition, just as Ironman was winding down Saturday afternoon. The crash involved a white Volkswagen Jetta that pulled out into traffic and was struck by the motorcycle. The rider was thrown from the bike. During the collision, the St. George Accident Reconstruction Team was called out, and a large section of West Sunset just east of Dixie Drive was blocked off so that officers could conduct an investigation that would continue well into Saturday afternoon. No further information was available at the time of this report.
Thanks, Cody. The Utah Division of State Parks released the name of the man who died while swimming at Sand Hollow State Park on Saturday. 18-year-old Christian Fisher was swimming with friends in the dive park area where friends reportedly saw him struggling to keep his head above water. Rescue teams recovered Fisher's body in the water in the nearby area where he was pronounced dead. A man accused of stealing thousands of dollars from his employer by depositing the same payroll checks multiple times is now facing second-degree felony charges. We'll head back over to Cody Blowers with more on this story.
St. George police detectives arrested 26-year-old Eswin Ricardo Gonzalez Hernandez, who was initially facing 10 second-degree felony counts of theft following an investigation that was opened at the end of March, when suspicious bank activity was reported by a local framing company in St. George. The alleged theft came to light when the company accountant found several fraudulent checks that were cashed over the course of several months last spring. Detectives learned that Hernandez, a former employee, was reportedly depositing the same paycheck multiple times on several occasions. In total, more than $16,000 in these duplicate check deposits were made by the suspect, according to police. When the case was filed, Hernandez was formally charged with 2 second-degree felonies, including 1 count of theft and 1 count of pattern of criminal activity. And he is scheduled to make an initial appearance in court next week.
Thanks again, Cody. Parking in Springdale is becoming less time-consuming thanks to a new pilot program partnership with Utah Tech University that features the ability to pay using QR code. Here's Stephanie DeGraw with the story.
A pilot program for parking is being tested in Springdale. It was created by students, graduates, and staff from Utah Tech University. Jessica Johnson and Dallin Taysom had this to say.
We believe the best way to visit Zion National Park is to actually skip the line that's found at the entrance, because unless you're an early bird, the parking is always full inside the park by 7 a.m. on peak seasons. We suggest that you take advantage of the parking at Springdale because Zion provides a free shuttle ride to you and your family. It will take you directly to the entrance to start your vacation.
When parking at Springdale, look for these signs right here. The best way to park is by scanning these QR codes. It'll then link you to a payment processing website where you can then pay for the parking in Springdale. You can then move on to your trip at Zion National Park.
Thanks, Stephanie. Now we'll head over to Aaron Crane for your weekly sports update.
Thanks, Amy. The Pineview Panthers swept Skyview in the 4A Baseball State Tournament's opening round this weekend to advance to next week's round of 16. Pineview joins Dixie, Snow Canyon, Desert Hills, and Crimson Cliffs, who all had first-round byes. Meanwhile, both Cedar and Hurricane were eliminated. Triathlete Sam Long set a new course record and defended his Ironman 70.3 North American Championship. Long beat Canadian Lionel Sanders' record set in 2018 with a time of 3 hours, 39 minutes, and 17 seconds, setting the new standard for the St. George course. Now back to you, Amy.
Thanks, Aaron. A year after breaking ground for a much-needed expansion, a large crowd gathered in the parking lot of the Washington County Children's Justice Center to celebrate the new section of the facility. Here's Maury Kessler with more on the story.
The Washington County Children's Justice Center and community supporters celebrated the completion of the center's expansion with a ribbon cutting on Monday, April 29th. The expansion comes in the form of a new building adjacent to the original Children's Justice Center and will house the center's expanded medical and mental health services. The center itself is designed to be a comfortable and home-like environment for children who are victims of any sort of abuse, where they can feel safe when interviewed by police about the abuse they have experienced. Based on the outcome of those interviews, the child is then referred to in-house medical and mental health care as deemed necessary. Washington County Children's Justice Center Director Chrissy Pike said it was the need to expand those services that led to the construction of the new building.
This is about services that were added to Children's Justice Center's plate of things that we do for kids after our current building was built. So when the current building, our older building, we will still do victim advocacy and interviews there. That's what it was built for. We added in new services, medical and mental health, that were not there originally. And we were making it work, but it was awkward. And this space is designed for medical and mental health. And so do we need the extra space because child abuse is just like growing at an alarming rate in Washington County? No. We need the added space because we're providing more services for kids.
Washington County Attorney Eric Clark added that helping children deal with the trauma created by the abuse is important in helping them lead healthy and productive lives and may also help them from becoming criminal offenders later on.
The more that we can help kids be getting the long-term help that they need for their mental health, that they can be working with their parents and developing the skills that they need in their family to recover and individually to recover, that it helps those kids, it's the right thing to do. It also lowers crime long term because statistically, kids that are abused, especially kids that are abused repeatedly, are much more likely to be committing criminal acts when they're adults. And so the more that we can be doing and investing in the victims of crime, especially in children victims of crime, the more we can help our criminal justice system years down the road by not having them in it on the other side of that.
Pike said the expansion was the result of 4 years of planning and support from various parts of the community who love the kids, and that everything coming together the way it did for the expansion's construction was a miracle.
Thank you for watching St. George News at 5. I'm Amy Bennett with St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
This has been St. George News at 5.